Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of Let It Rip Sports Show. I'm your host, Eldridge Bell II, and today we gotta give kudos to the Cleveland Cavaliers who debunked all conventional knowledge that they would get swept. And I'm not gonna lie, I honestly thought that they were gonna win Game Two, simply because I had an inkling. I didn't. I'm not gonna say I had a logical reason why they would win this game, but there's something to be said when a team with heart and will lose one of their star players, and that's what they did when Kyrie Irving went down. For some reason, I thought they were going to come out with energy. They're going to come out with the will not to be defeated, the Rocky mentality, if you will. And that's basically what happened in Game Two. They just fought, they fought and fought and fought. And I thought for the Golden State Warriors, outside of Klay Thompson, they lacked energy. They lacked the killer instinct, if you will. Uh, Klay Thompson had a great game. He had foul trouble in the beginning of the game, but when he got back in the game, he was stroking. He was on fire. Now, the key for the game for the victory for the Cleveland Cavaliers, one, LeBron James had the game for the ages, 39 points, 16 rebounds, 11 assists. Most dominant player ever. I don't care what anybody says. Jordan couldn't get those numbers. Now, in terms of points, he can get those numbers. Like he can probably get 55 points. But filling up the stat sheet like LeBron James does, there's nobody like him. He's a more athletic version of Magic Johnson. Stop comparing him to Jordan. But don't let me get on that tangent because that's going to be a video for a whole nother time. But Mozgov, who I thought in game one was really the big mismatch outside of J.R. Smith. Mozgov was very active. He was able to get points. I believe he got 17 points, and that's what you have to do. You have to exploit the mismatch between the Golden State War for the Golden State Warriors, and that's their lack of size, and that's what the Memphis Grizzlies were able to do to go up 2-0 to go up, excuse me, 2-0 in that series. They exploited their size and solid point guard play. Mozgov very active. Tristan Thompson very active. They had rebounds, they had putbacks. LeBron James was was able to be himself, and that's really the one thing that the Golden State Warriors have to make an adjustment on for Game Three. They have to make LeBron James a pure scorer. Let him get his 45. Let him get his 55. Whatever. But you cannot allow him to get 8, 11, and 15 assists. You can't do that because if you make him a playmaker, he's hard to beat. And James Jones was a beneficiary of that. J.R. Smith was. Mozgov especially was. And that was really the key in the game because they allowed LeBron James to be a playmaker. You cannot allow him to be a playmaker. You have to give him the Allen Iverson treatment. Let him get his points, but you cannot allow his teammates to get buckets. And that's what the Golden State Warriors failed to do. The Golden State Warriors had a lack of energy. I feel they didn't have, like I said earlier, they didn't have a killer instinct. And Stephen Curry, he didn't have a good game. Klay Thompson, he had a great game, but Stephen Curry, he just wasn't himself that game. He missed a lot of shots that he usually makes. I thought he forced a lot of 3 pointers that he could have probably drove to the basket. The whole team really just didn't have that cohesiveness that they usually have in prior games. Untimely turnovers, especially at the end of the game in overtime, where Stephen Curry tried to pass to Klay Thompson, ended up being a turnover, which basically sealed the game. When the Golden State Warriors are firing on all cylinders, they don't make those mistakes. They don't have that lack of energy. They don't have a lack of synergy, if you will. They're usually unbeatable, basically, because they move around, they hit open shots, and in this game, they couldn't buy a bucket. They really couldn't. They were off. They seem out of sync. They seem, I don't want to say disinterested, but they didn't seem locked in, if you will. And that was a real difference in the game. Now, I said all that to say the Cleveland Cavaliers are still going to lose this series. Just because if you look at the game, and I saw the game firsthand and I saw a replay of the game, if you look at how much energy LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers had to expend in that game, it's almost impossible to keep that momentum and that energy level up for a 7-game series. The Cavaliers are woefully, and I want to say woefully, thin in terms of scoring and playmakers. You got LeBron James, and J.R. Smith, who can be playmakers. Amon Shumpert on a good day, hopefully, but you lack depth, you lack playmakers, and the Golden State Warriors they had an off game. Now, and that's not to take anything away from the Cleveland Cavaliers because they deserve to win this game. But Del Dova, he did great against Stephen Curry. But part of the reason why he was great against Stephen Curry is because Stephen Curry had an off night. But if you look at how fatigued he got at the end of the game, you can't expect that kind of energy level for a 7-game series. Eventually he's going to wear down and he's going to get busted for 55 points because Curry is not going to have. I believe he's not going to have back-to-back bad games. So I said all that to say the Cleveland Cavaliers are still outmatched, outgunned. They maybe win one more game because I believe LeBron James. I believe actually all the great NBA players can get you a game or two. And I'm not talking about the regular season great players. I'm talking about the players who are great in postseason play. They're good. They're good enough to get you one, maybe 2 games. And I believe LeBron James, one of the best players ever, can get you a game, possibly 2. But the series is over. It's still over. You lose Kevin Love. You lose Kyrie Irving. That's and these aren't just like good players. These are great players. You can't lose that much talent and still expect to compete at the NBA Finals level. So, congratulations to the Cavaliers for not getting swept. You showed heart, you showed pride, you showed will, but it's over. It's over. The Golden State Warriors have too much talent. Steve Kerr, he's great at making adjustments because if you think back to it, they were down 0-2 to the Memphis Grizzlies, who had an advantage in the at the 4 and 5 positions, just like the Cleveland Cavaliers have the advantage at the 4 and 5 position. They'll make adjustments, and you'll find out how good this Golden State Warrior team it really is, and they really are good. So they're gonna lose game. They're gonna lose game 3. They may lose. They may win game 4. But at the end of the day, they're losing the series in 5 games. 6 games. But if you had to make me put a bet on it, I'm gonna say 6 games. They lose the series. It's just the Golden State Warriors are just too talented, and the Cleveland Cavaliers have to spend too much energy, and they don't have the depth to replenish. They don't have enough depth to replenish the players who um, have to play most of the game. So with that said, Golden State Warriors win the series in 6 games, and I just feel bad for Kevin Love who's had really no playoff success yet. I feel bad for Kyrie Irving. He's well deserving of glory. And I feel bad for LeBron James because everyone's going to say, well, Michael Jordan would have won it. Michael Jordan would have put the team on his back. But let me ask you a question to all those Jordan lovers. Back in the 90s, if Jordan had lost Pippen, do you really think he would have won a championship? And when Jordan came back, do you think if he lost Jordan and Dennis Rodman, do you think he would have won championships? Really? No. But anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the series. I feel that even though the Cavaliers will lose this series, I feel every game will be competitive because they're a hard-nosed, gritty team. But for all intents and purposes, the series is over. Thank Thank you for watching this. I'm your host, Eldridge Bell II. As always, please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Letter Sports Show, and please feel free to leave comments and or suggestions. Thank you once again, and until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Eldridge Bell II.